Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. And yes, I will be watching an interview, reacting to an interview by Prithviraj in this video. So he has given a couple of interviews because his film is slated for release next month in March, which is Empuraan, Lucifer 2 basically. So this interview, there are like I think 2 or 3 interviews. I've picked up the one in the Galatta India channel. So this is Prithviraj Sukumaran on L2 Empuraan, Mohanlal directing SRK. SS Rajamouli is next with Mahesh Babu. So I think he's talked about a lot of things. It's like a 22-minute interview. Let's watch this right away.
South India's #1 travel brand. You know you are special when you're with GT Holidays.
I am notorious / unfortunately famous for shooting things in real. I try and stay away from CGI as much as I can. The choppers and the explosions and the stunts and the action, nothing is VFX.
Oh!
The only actor who told me whenever you call, I'm there, is Mr. Mohanlal. Very close with my mom's side of the family. My mom used to take him to school. He became this superstar, this phenomenon that Malayalam cinema produced, and the relationship has been there forever. He calls me Mone,
Very
which
interesting.
literally means son. You know, so when we are sitting and chatting, he'll be Mone, and all he'll be chatting. And the moment an assistant comes and says that the shot is set, and he'll walk to the other side of the camera, he immediately switches to sir. And then you say cut, and then he's again back to cracking jokes that I can't talk about here.
Are you somewhere deep down expecting
Oh, it's with him.
like a big award for that?
No. So I don't expect anything. Whatever that film, whatever I was expecting of that film, I've already gotten it.
There was a poster that you guys launched, okay, of L2, and internet broke because they were guessing who that person is.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it Mammootty sir? Is it Basil Joseph? Or is it Fahad? Fahad.
I could tell you, but then I had to kill you. And I met Subhaskaran sir, and we were having lunch together, and I sort of fixed this idea in my mind that I wanted to do with Rajini sir, which is actually an adaptation of an idea that I developed when someone else reached out to me to direct a Hindi film, which I wanted to pitch to Shah Rukh sir. I hope sometime it happens.
I also hope.
From being an object of desire in Ayya to desiring for life, food and survival in Aadujeevitham, I feel he's one of the finest actors that this country has ever produced. And I hope, and I told him this, and I pray that this year he gets the national award. Well, now he's actually a filmmaker too. He called himself a part-time director. Doesn't seem like from the teaser of L2 Empuraan. Joining me for a conversation on Galatta India is Prithviraj sir. Hello, how are you, sir?
Very well. Thank you so much for all the words. How are you?
Sir, I am good. I am feeling so happy. I am feeling full because we've eaten a lot in Kochi today.
Oh, good. Okay. I hope Kerala is treating you well.
I love Kerala,
Yeah, okay.
and we went out shopping and all of that. But are you expecting, before I come to this, I've been messaging you because when the film dropped, on OTT platform, everybody watched it, and the reactions were crazy for Aadujeevitham as well. It's one of the best films that was made last year critically, and the commercial success, of course, adds to that. Are you somewhere deep down expecting like a big award for that?
No.
Why? Why do you say this? Yesterday, Mohanlal sir said that you don't consider yourself a big filmmaker. Why do you do this to yourself? Why?
Disappointment really happens when you expect. So I don't expect anything.
Stop expecting.
Whatever I was expecting
so
of that
true.
film, I've already gotten it. You know, my biggest hope for that film was that we are able to make it the way it should be made. We did that. I was really hoping that people resonate with it. People did across the world. It is one of Malayalam cinema's biggest ever hits.
Yes.
I was secretly hoping that people like my portrayal of Najib. People have liked my portrayal of Najib.
Loved.
Yeah. End of story. Now I've moved on. So,
last time when we met, we had spoken about Empuraan, and you had said that there'll be a time when I'll be able to speak about it in more details. And I remember that Murli Gopi sir had actually sent you that video bite when we did that show.
Yes.
Now going back to that, Empuraan, when you did Lucifer, the whole structure was not there in between Hindi films and the whole, there was still a divide, okay?
Yeah.
Especially I was just discussing with Mohanlal sir as well, that when we speak about pan-India films, back then it was only about Hindi films and possibly Telugu films. There was not really much of any other regional films being celebrated to that extent. Today, if you see last year, some of the biggest films that hit box office wise, even from the Hindi circuit, were actually Malayalam films. So does that give you hope that with this film, it is going to be bigger because the structure is also much bigger?
No, we sure hope so. We hope that this film finds resonance across the country, across the world. You're right. When Lucifer released, we were still coming to terms with our theatrical markets beginning to expand and all that. In fact, it was with Lucifer that overseas markets especially took a sort of a proliferation in exponential terms. So right now, I think this film sort of subconsciously, accidentally coincides with that phenomenon in a very nice way, because this is a very honest progression of the narrative that we had in place for 3 films of the franchise, even back in 2017. But as it so happens, the second part of the franchise is very much national in its scape and also international in how the story happens and travels. In fact, about 30-35% of the film is in Hindi.
And you've actually retained the Hindi dialogue in all the language teasers that I saw yesterday.
That's just for my character. But I mean, there are many more characters, and a significant portion of the film that happens
has been shot in
Hindi. And I'm going to retain that as Hindi in all 5 versions of the film. I have to tell you that when you walk into the theatre to watch Empuraan, for the first 20-25 minutes, it will seem like you're watching a Hindi film. But it'll come to Kerala, it'll come to Malayalam, it'll go back to Hindi, then it'll go to London. So
I think that's this point. So I'm going to pause whenever I have a point to make in the interview, or I have to react because it's a long video. This particular point, I would really like films to do this more when you are trying to make a film which is based on different regions, different locations, different countries, because it really does bring the authenticity. Like the last film that I can just think of right now is Vida Muriachi. So there also, because the film is set in Azerbaijan, so the locals there are speaking that language, and I think that authenticity needs to be maintained. I think going forward, it just makes sense. It just makes sense because people are now used to subtitles. Subtitles is not like a new thing anymore. So if a character is actually belonging to a particular region, why not? Why not explore that? I'm not just saying that every film should have it, but I'm saying for a film like this, which is the story spread across the country as well as internationally, so it just makes sense to have that authenticity. I mean, you can have that one core language, but if it is based on a different region, you can have maybe 10 or 20% of the film in that local language, which will probably add, I'm not saying it will, but probably will add more authenticity to that scene or that storyline overall. Just a thought, but I would love to know what you guys think.
Mix of everything.
Yeah, so it's not a deliberate design. That's how the story actually organically progressed. So this film having that quality, coinciding with this whole now the release is becoming so wide, I think is a genuinely good opportunity for us, and I hope people like what they see. It's a very ambitious film. I'm assuming this is not the kind of cinema that someone in the north, a cinephile in the north, usually associates Malayalam cinema with. So maybe look at it as our shot at holding our own, in the world of big ticket, big scale commercial entertainers.
I think people who you just referred to, they're also waiting for this to happen, I watched this movie, it's Kadhal, is it how it's pronounced, with Mammootty sir? Kadhal. Yes. What a brilliant film, right?
Absolutely.
There are very few superstars from any other language actually trying out content like this, They're doing big ticket, hyper heroic films and performances, but not these things which are coming from Malayalam cinema. So, of course, why not? Why can't we have a hyper heroism kind of a film as well? But you have apparently said this in many interviews that this is a very small film. This is not that big film. You've always said it, and then there have been conversations on social media where you've called your producer and said that I need these many helicopters. So please tell us, why would you do that?
So I understand the whole hype around the follow-up film to a very iconic blockbuster. I understand that, but I try my best to to always maintain that this is just like any other mainstream film. Only give it that much thought, because I want you to go to the theaters with an open mind and see the film. I always say that there's absolutely no point in me sitting here today and telling you, actually, this is what the film is about. Actually, this is what the film is. What you see and you get from the film is what the film is about.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Like, you see, setting the expectation is one thing. That, okay, fine. Every filmmaker, every director would set an expectation where they would be said, okay, this is what we have made. Please go and see the film and then decide for yourself. And because this is the follow-up film, obviously, because the first one was a commercial success, there's definitely hype, and we all are waiting. Like, I am personally rooting for this one, and I'm personally wanting the chatter that Marco created. This film continues that, because Marco sort of opened the gates for Malayalam industry, where people, it just grabbed your eyeballs and saying that, oh, okay, we thought Malayalam cinema is very, very content driven, and yeah, we have seen that, but oh, they can make a film like Marco as well. So I want that conversation to be carried. See, irrespective of you liked Marco, you hated Marco, but I'm saying the conversation happened. So I would want this film to carry that conversation even more. It's like, oh, okay, we have a film like Lucifer 2, which is like this big budget commercial film, which has good production, and it's like very massy. So yeah, they are also doing this, and then it trickles down to, because after Mrs., I'm telling you, a lot of people are watching The Great Indian Kitchen. The way that film has suddenly grabbed eyeballs, I personally am extremely happy. So they're like, okay, let's explore, okay, what kind of content this industry makes, and that momentum needs to be maintained. I swear, I really would want it to be maintained now throughout after the floodgates opened with Marco. And I would want all the makers to build upon it. Let's see if it happens or not. I am hoping that it should happen.
There's no other.
That's true.
Yeah, there's no other argument to it. And I am notorious / unfortunately famous for shooting things in real. Okay, for all my films. So with the scale and the canvas and the sequences in this film, when we initially set out with the narration, I think the producers thought he's actually meaning a film which is going to be almost 80% shot inside a studio floor against green screens. And then, we do that. And then I say, not really.
No, I want the helicopters
We're going to be
in
traveling
real.
to all these countries and shooting all of them for real.
Yeah.
And I try and stay away from CGI as much as I can.
Yeah.
That's not to say that there is no CGI. There is extensive CGI in the film, but I try and capture as much as I can in real.
Yeah.
So everything you see in this, the choppers and the explosions and the stunts and the action, nothing is VFX.
And you have actually shot it over 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I only shot the film for 145 days,
Over 3 years.
Which,
yes.
in fact, we planned the film. My initial chart, which I still have a copy on my mobile phone, is 173 days. So we actually undercut that number of days by a good margin. But we shot it across 2 years. I started in 2023 October, and we finished in 2024 November. I think so. Yeah. So I shot it across 1 year and a couple of months, but only for 145 days. Because we had to travel across so many different countries and so many different places, even within India, it was quite difficult to be adjusting our shooting schedules with the availability of artists. And the only actor who told me, whenever you call, I'm there, is Mr. Mohanlal.
But I want to ask you, when you speak about Mohanlal, sir, you've met him as a child also, right?
Yeah.
You've grown up knowing him as somebody who's been very fond of your father as well.
Yeah.
So when you're directing him, you also have this uncle-like figure and a superstar-like figure, and then you're the director also. Then you have to say like, no, maybe you should do it this way. How do you balance it out? Are there days when you find it difficult because of his stature? So
in fact, Mohanlal sir's relationship with my family goes back even more. It's with my mother's side of the family, actually. My mom used to take him to school.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's very close with my mom's side of the family. Still is very close. And then he became this superstar, this phenomenon that Malayalam cinema produced. And the relationship has been there forever. And then he's worked with my dad. And I've seen him from a very young age. But the greatest thing about Mohanlal sir is that when he's on set, of course he knows me. So I've said this many times. He calls me Mone, which is literally means son. So when we are sitting and chatting, he'll be Mone and all, he'll be chatting. And the moment an assistant comes and says, "Oh, the shot is set," and he'll walk to the other side of the camera, he immediately switches to sir. And it'll be like, "Sir, what do you want me to do?" I remember the first day of shoot of Lucifer Part 1. He came in and asked me this. I was sitting by the monitor with the shot
That's
setup.
very
He came in
nice.
and asked me, "Sir, what
Because
would you
it
like me to
kind
do?"
of sets the precedent also. It's undeniable that if you have someone like Mohanlal sir or Mamuka sir on the set, there is this whole thing that, oh my god, we are having a superstar, mega star on the set, and then but the onus is kind of on them, where they have to ensure to make the crew feel comfortable and to make the crew known that no, here the director is the captain. So I think that's a very good gesture on his part, to be very honest.
And I'm like, "Sir, you read the scene?" I said, "Yeah, I read the scene." I said, "So this is a shot. You're sitting there and the camera is going to come to you. Okay, but what would you like me to do?" And I realized that that is his process. He actually wants to really listen to what the director wants.
Director's actor.
Yeah, and that is such a joy. And me being an actor myself, I know that is priceless for an actor. That's what I look for from my directors. For my directors to come and clearly tell me, this is what I want. So then I can bring my actor's interpretation part into his vision.
Yeah.
And he's such a joy to work with that you tend to forget that he is this mighty superstar, or the fact that he's seen you grow up. You tend to forget all that. It just becomes such a professional equation. And then you say cut, and then he's again back to cracking jokes that I can't talk about here.
But you have got like so many actors together, right?
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing. Like we were also discussing in the other room, that it is very difficult to get so many actors from a Hindi film industry or maybe other film industries together in one film. And there are so many films that have not gotten made. Many directors have come and spoken about so many films that have two hero films also not getting made because of insecurities. How do you manage to do that? As an actor, you've done those films.
Yeah.
And as a director, you've managed to get all these actors in one film.
I just think that we are blessed with a heritage and with a practice that these legends have set, that everything depends on the script.
Yeah. Exactly.
I was just answering
thinking
another
that only,
question
what
to
he
another
said.
friend from the media, where I'm not a big believer in the narrative that Malayalam cinema is superior and all that. I don't think so. We are going through a great phase. I don't deny that. But great films are being made everywhere. And there is also, not too long ago, I can very clearly remember us sitting here and thinking, man, how is Hindi cinema doing this? When Anurag and Vikramaditya and all of them burst onto the scene.
Yeah.
I remember all of us sitting and thinking, man, how are they able to write these? How are they making this? That was not too long ago.
Yeah.
So it's not like, we are superior or anything. We are going through a good phase. But if there is one thing that I'd like maybe other industries to look at and observe closely in Malayalam cinema, is the fact that we still treat writers as the cornerstone of our industry. I don't know if there is another industry where writers are the ones putting together projects, including
I
Lucifer.
think that is why the benchmark, someone like me also, is so high from this industry, where the first and foremost thing which comes in my head when I see a Malayalam film, when I go to watch a Malayalam film, is that, oh, how is the story going to be? How is the screenplay? Like the kind of importance I place on the screenplay, on the content of it, that everything else becomes secondary. I'm like, okay, what is the story? How has it been executed? How has the director presented the story? How has it been written? What is the writers, like what the writers did basically with the story? And then everything falls around it, where, oh, okay, so this is a great story, very well presented. How was the BGM? Did the BGM add to it? Was the edit great? Was the performance like great? Did it match up to the storyline? So everything else is around the story. And that is the precedence that this industry has set in my head, and I'm sure in the audience's head also. So that is why I feel that every actor, every film stands a very fair chance of becoming a major box office hit. Every actor stands a fair chance of becoming a superstar, which is great. And you want that basis, the merit that you see in the film. And it's not, see, when you go to that superstar status, you will pull in the audience. The audience will walk in. But that's for the initial couple of days. I have seen so many, like in front of my eyes, you guys left, right, and center criticizing a bad film which had a superstar. So they know, the industry people know that no, just because we have reached that status, even if we make a bad film, we're going to get criticized. So they know. And that is why great stories are coming out of this industry right now, which is amazing.
It is a writer who pitched an idea to me that he wanted, that he's wrote with Mohanlal in mind, and asked me if I would direct it. And it is a writer who then calls Mohanlal sir and asks him, Prithvi would like to direct this. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
So writers are the ones holding the power. And I think that is a very, very important lesson to take away. That is how we look at writing. That is how we look at what is written on paper.
Yeah.
Because of that, I don't need to convince anyone. I just need to tell them this is the film, this is the character. And every actor worth his or her salt will know if this is worth doing or not.
Absolutely.
But then there are also big favors being done. Like when I'm shooting a film like this, someone like a Tovino, who's like a brother to me, I'm pulling him out of these big ticket films that he's doing as a main lead, and I'm telling I need you for 2 days in New Orleans. And the poor boy has to now take a flight from somewhere and land here, and then take a flight from there to New York, and then come to New Orleans and shoot for 3 hours and then fly back. They do that for me because of the relationship.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're in the film is because of what is written. Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel relationships have always been the crux of anything in the industries, any industries that work on art, right? Today that's dying a little bit. That's a conversation even I've had with people. Like when I started off as a journalist, the relationship that actors had with journalists is not the same.
Yeah.
But the problem is the generalization that has happened, that every journalist is going to be the same, every actor is going to be the same, which is why I connect with you guys, because I feel like, yes, you're right. Like relationships ke upar jab hota hai na, to lagta hai ki it will always happen for the right reasons, you know?
See, like, yesterday, Mammootty sir came in person to launch the teaser of my film. He was supposed to be somewhere else that I know personally. It was a very close family member's wedding.
Yeah.
And he actually was late for that wedding. But unfortunately, we could not push the teaser time because of various reasons. But he still made it a point to come. That's only for the relationship.
Yeah.
That's only because he shares a very deep bond with Mohanlal sir. And he also looks at me that way. And even for Lucifer 1, it was Mammootty sir who launched the teaser. And yeah, so when I did Janagana Mana, the film, I was that time shooting in Algeria for Goat Life. I wanted the opening voiceover to be Mammootty sir's voice. I only called him. I called him from there. I first I said I won't ask him because I had asked so many favors from him. I won't ask him. I remember I called him and I said, I'm so sorry for having called you for this favor. And he's like, why would you feel sorry about calling me? And I was suddenly taken aback. And I'm like, I just shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
I just said, nothing. Can you do the voiceover? Yeah. And that was it. You know, so so we have that relationship in the industry. So yeah, I mean, I hope the industry thrives because of that. I hope forever
I'm also hoping for that. It has so far. So, I mean, I hope that relationship and that camaraderie and that feeling of, you know, being when you are on set, it is professional, but it is also very personal. So I hope that it doesn't go away, and I know for a fact that Bollywood had that for a very long time, because you know, you see all these old interviews. If you go back to all the old interviews, you see people talking like this, ki haan, hum to baith hi jate the, and ye sab milke khana khate the. Everybody used to sit and eat together, and it's not there now. And it's kind of sad, but it is what it is right now. So I hope that also changes, that familial feeling probably comes back in the future. We'll have to wait and watch.
And I'm really
Bollywood
looking forward to more and more multi-stars happening. There's a really exciting film happening where after a long time we are going to see the two big M's together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And they are shooting here in Delhi. Not that I have gone and visited the set and spotted them, but I'm just happy to know that they are here where I am right now at this moment.
good things are happening. Yeah.
But now that you've spoken about it, there was a poster that you guys launched, okay, of L2, and internet broke because they were guessing who that person is.
Oh, and by the way, because I know they are like introducing so many characters again and again, I have not watched it yet because I'm thinking I'll watch it all together. So maybe in a couple of days I'll do that. Not a reaction, I'll watch it on my own. But is this revealed? Because I know this is an older interview. It's been like a couple of weeks, maybe a month back this released. So has it been revealed who this person is?
Okay, so is it Mammootty sir? Is it Basil Joseph, or is it Fahad first?
I could tell you, but then I had to kill you.
Is it one of the three?
No.
It's not one of the three.
No.
But
so I can tell you this much, that when we set out with the casting of this film, I reached out to my wish list, across the world. I reached out to my wish list, and some really big names from the UK, from the US, really big names. And sometimes to my shock and sometimes to my pleasant surprise, most of them said, yeah, we'd like to explore this. Yeah. And I was like, wow. And we've had to translate the script to a few other languages for them to read and all that. And we have sent it to them and they've said yes. And then the agents come in. Yeah. And the agents come in and we have already briefed them. Listen, this is an Indian film. Moreover, this is a Malayalam film. And the actors understand. The actors are like, yeah, we get it. And I'm asking them for like 4 days or 5 days. And the actors are like, no, then the agents come in. And then they sort of start strategizing. And you reach a point. And I reached a point where I knew that, okay, I have this much money to make the film with. Yeah, I would love so, and so. But if I'm going to go for that, then I have to make the film with what is remaining.
Yeah.
Or I can let go of the wish list in terms of casting and cast actors that I think are suitable for it, not stars, and then go all out in making the film. That's what I've done. So don't expect like some earth-shatteringly big names and all that, but there are
cameos.
Not cameos, there are characters.
There are characters.
Yeah.
Mammootty sir is there in the...
No, Mammootty sir is not there.
There's a story, I thought that is at least...
No, Mammootty sir is not there in this part of the franchise.
Okay. But I want to ask you this, that during the launch, you said that for this film, before you got Laika, right, to
Yes.
Malayalam cinema. But they had offered you a film to do, which you were supposed to direct Rajinikanth in it, and you
Yes.
couldn't.
Yeah.
Which film was that, and like, why couldn't
No, it's not like a witch film. So, Laika reached out to me first, asking me if I would direct a film with Rajinikanth sir for them.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I would love to. But unfortunately, that had to happen within a particular time period. And me being a part-time director, I don't I don't direct like one after the other. I direct once in a while. I'm not sitting on a bank of scripts that I wanted. And I'm not. So I was in London and I met Subhaskaran sir. And we were having lunch together. And I sort of pitched this idea in my mind that I wanted to do with Rajini sir, which is actually an adaptation of an idea that I developed when someone else reached out to me to direct a Hindi film, which I wanted to pitch to Shah Rukh sir, actually.
I hope it happens.
It was actually, yeah. So, and Subhaskaran sir was really excited about the idea. But unfortunately, I didn't have time to develop it any further because I had to start shooting Goat Life. I had to start the second schedule of Goat Life. So that didn't happen, and that project had to happen within a specified time period. But what happened over the meeting was we developed a relationship, and every time I'm in London, we sort of meet, and he's a really enterprising gentleman, very kind man.
Kind man.
And very ambitious and passionate about cinema. So that eventually led to them being co-producers on Empuraan.
Okay.
And so I hope sometime it happens.
Yeah, I hope someday you direct Shah Rukh Khan in that film that you want to, because you will be amazing. Finally, the last question would be that I know a few films that you are supposed to do. Mm-hmm. The first is, when is Salar 2 happening? Have you guys started?
So Prashant is just starting his film with Tarak. It's also a very exciting film. Once he finishes that, then Salar 2 will immediately follow.
There was a Dharma film once offered to you which you couldn't do. Now finally you're doing one, and the world knows it. So that is also being planned for a release this year sometime, right?
I hope so.
And there are two films that are of course being discussed everywhere. You are actually doing a film with Rajamouli sir, which is with Mahesh Babu. And the other film that I'm very excited is that I've heard that you're doing Meghna Gulzar's film with Kareena Kapoor.
So both these films, I mean, we've there are a lot of things to be confirmed and discussed and all that. Let's hope it works. Yeah.
But with Rajamouli sir, the whole idea of just working, if it happens.
Amazing. I mean, I am a huge fan. Who isn't a fan? I'm a huge fan. I've always sort of looked up to him as a filmmaker and also as a dreamer, Let's see. I hope it works.
I hope everything what he has mentioned happens.
Fall into place. Yeah.
I hope that you continue making films. You act in them as well as direct. Don't be a part-time director. You've directed one and acted in 4 or 5 films in that process. So why not? You are a fine talent that we have from India, and I hope that we keep having these conversations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for doing this.
South
So
India's number
sweet.
one travel brand.
Okay,
You know,
let me stop this. That was a good interview. I feel Nayan doesn't get enough credit for his interviewing skills. Like he's quite well known in the entertainment journalism, but I feel he deserves much more limelight because, firstly, what I like about Nayan is that he prepares he researches and he prepares for the particular promotional interview or whoever he's going to interview. So he prepares, he does his research, he prepares good questions, and he ensures that he has this really nice bubbly personality, and he always ensures that the other actor, whatever interviews of Nayan that I have watched personally, this is the first interview that he's taking that I'm reacting to, but generally I've watched his Hindi film Bollywood interviews. So I know for a fact that he makes the other person very, very comfortable, and he asks really good questions. So I like the way he prepares for the interview, and Prithviraj is always a pleasure to listen to. I love listening to this man because his perspectives, his thoughts, his idea, the way he articulates everything, and I just love it. He's so crystal clear, and I've said this again and again whenever I've reacted to one of his interviews, that the way he presents his ideas, he's a visionary for me. He has a very clear-cut vision. He's very level-headed, and it shows when he answers the questions. So he comes across as extremely intelligent, extremely well-spoken. In every interview I have watched of him, I have learned something. I really, really learned something about the industry, about his style of acting or style of directing, or what he views cinema as, how his thought process is about different industries. So it's great. It's always a great insight of listening to him. And in fact, his interview skills, like, let's not underestimate Prithviraj's interview skills, because I remember he did an interview with Ranveer Singh for 83 because his production house was distributing 83 in Kerala. So he interviewed Ranveer, and I thought he had immensely amazing interview skills as well. So that is actually one of my favorite conversations between two actors. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Lucifer to Empuraan, and I really, really hope this becomes a blockbuster, not just in Kerala but pan India. Let's wait and watch. So yeah, that was my reaction to the interview, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And with that, I will end this video here, and I will see you soon on my next one. Bye.